Welcome to Humane Voices, the official podcast of the Humane Society of the United States. I'm Chad. That's Kelly. What's up, Kelly?
Hey, Chad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So we're talking about colleges and universities, and I wanted to ask you where you went to school.
I would love to share where I went. I went to Wilmington College. It is a liberal arts Quaker school, go Quakers, in Ohio.
Gotcha. And you've been, I think you told me you're actually involved with your school to this day. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm on the board of trustees, and what's
Oh my God, you're so important.
Yeah, I'm so important, Chad. Kate, I need you to know how important I am too for this episode. But what's exciting about today's topic, Chad, our biggest major at Wilmington College is agriculture.
Oh, right.
And so, yeah, they kind of have an interesting look at food and agriculture. So I'm really excited about today's episode.
Well, what strikes me, yes, I'm excited as well. I've gone back to my school years later, obviously after I graduated. I went to Virginia Tech. The dining programs are so different. Like looks like a 4-star restaurant now, where I feel like it was just a shack that I ate meals in before. So things have changed a lot anyway, is my point
Since
with the dining.
1820, they've changed quite a bit, Chad.
Yeah, I took my rode the donkey every day to my university.
Barefoot.
Well, our guest today is one of the people who's helping drive that change at all these colleges and universities in the dining hall. Kate Jarvis is the manager of food service innovation at the Humane Society of the United States, and she's working to help colleges and universities offer more plant-based meals. Kate, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Chad and Kelly. I'm a big fan of the show, so I'm excited to be here.
You're the one. That's great.
Yeah.
Our number one listener. Thanks for that. So, Kate, let's talk about this. So, tell us a little bit about your work and kind of what drives working with colleges and universities, and full on with the tofu influence at today's colleges.
Absolutely. Yes. No, it's a great question. And I'm sure kind of one of the first ones that everyone asks themselves once they hear about my team and that the Humane Society of the US is even working on issues like this. So obviously at our organization, our goal is to improve the lives of animals at a systemic level wherever they appear in society. And so for farm animals, that largely pertains to food and how animals that are raised for food are treated. So while our department's policy team, you might see them in the news, they're the ones that are working around the clock to pass laws improving the treatment of farm animals and encourage corporations to only purchase from farms that are treating farm animals humanely. Our food service innovation team, so my side of things, we work a bit closer to the demand side. So we're working a bit more to reduce the demand for animal products. And so our team is comprised of chefs and dietitians and food service specialists who work with some of the largest food service management companies in the country, as well as the large institutions, primarily in the college and university, K through 12, hospital and healthcare sectors, to increase the quantity and quality, like you're describing, of plant-based options and therefore decrease the demand for meat and animal products. So we focus a lot of our efforts just at the institutional level, simply because this is where we can have the biggest impact. And we do this by offering a wide variety of free resources, all to do with more technical and tangible resources that these major institutions who are serving millions of meals every single year can use to actually successfully implement more plant-based options. So we offer chef-led culinary trainings, recipe development, greenhouse gas assessment, customer engagement strategies, and a variety of other things to support these institutions like universities in making their menus more sustainable and plant-based.
Well, yeah, you're targeting the right thing. Millions of meals, that's unbelievable how many, college students eat a lot and often. And I was curious, Kate, how difficult is it going on to, or I'm pretending I'm visualizing what you're doing. You're walking onto a campus and you're meeting with the head person in charge. How are you received? Is it difficult to convince them to go our way, or is it easy? Can you tell us about that?
So, what's funny is during these moments, I always think of my own time in college when my economics professors would answer everything with, it depends, and we'd all roll our eyes, but it truly
Right.
does depend on a variety of different factors. So For example, it can depend on things like the size of the institution, the students that they're serving, the location or the state that they're in, their leadership team. I mean, there's a wide variety of factors that kind of play into how we are typically received when we're sending that email or making that phone call, or sometimes marching right onto campus and knocking on doors.
Tofu in hand.
Tofu in hand, ready to go, seasoned always. Everybody, please season your tofu. But I would say across the board, though, we are certainly seeing a lot more interest year after year in adding more plant-based meals, regardless of all of those factors. So the demand for these options really is growing as students are just learning more about the climate and the health impacts of their food choices. So that's certainly making it easier for us to offer our services and support these institutions in making their menus more plant-based.
And I would imagine that, well, I don't know. I would think with this generation, I think we're in Gen Z, maybe in college age, but that it would be well received. What, in terms of not the administration, but the students themselves, how is it received?
Absolutely. Yeah. So most, if not all, college students or students heading off to college are a part of Gen Z, like you're describing. And I think we can all attest to that they're definitely a generation that is very attuned to and concerned about the impacts that their choices have, not only on themselves, but on their communities and on the entire world. And our diets are an often overlooked part of our lives, wherein we can be living more sustainably and making choices multiple times a day that do have a much healthier and more positive impact, not only on the animals that are raised for food themselves, of course, but also on our own individual health. So a lot of Gen Z students are learning more about just the health benefits. Most leading health organizations around the world have come forward to advocate for plant-based options as being one of the leading ways to reduce your risk of chronic disease, things like cancer, heart disease, diabetes. And the same long list of benefits goes for the health of our environment when we opt for plant-based options. So they require far less land and water and other resources to produce compared to animal proteins. And they also pollute our environment and resources less during their production. So it's truly a win-win-win-win, however many reasons I just described, all of the wins from every angle. And I think college students and members of Gen Z, just more broadly, are really paying attention to that.
So I just heard the nickname for Gen Z, which I thought it was just Gen Z. They're calling them Zoomers, which I hadn't heard before.
I
Oh,
have
kind of
not
a little
either.
hat tip to the
To the
boomers and
boomers. Yeah,
Zoomers.
exactly. I hadn't heard that. Who knows if it'll catch on, but I read it on the internet, so it must be true.
Folks, you heard it here first from
Yeah.
Chad.
So, Kate, your team just released this scorecard that we wanted to talk about today. You're giving grades back to these schools. It's payback time.
We are. We're flipping the script 100% and excited to do it. And yeah, we're really excited to promote all of the schools that are doing great work and just give them some well-deserved attention and kudos for their impressive commitments to sustainability in the dining halls.
Who are some of the A++
Yeah,
schools?
Yeah, absolutely. So on our report, we do rank them. Not only do we grade them, but we are ranking them. So like you're mentioning, Kelly, some of the top performers are going to be the University of Colorado Boulder. They're topping the list at number one. They're followed by the University of North Texas, University of Texas at Austin, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor,
Okay, we're
University
going to
of
put a
Arizona.
pause on that, Kate. Question. You just mentioned two Texas
Unbelievable.
universities.
I
I
know.
would not probably guess that.
I know. I think everybody has the same moment of pause when we mention that they are truly leading the way, but they are. I mean, just
That's
to give
great. I mean, Boulder, yeah, of course. They need plant-based protein to hike and do whatever they do there. But Texas,
obviously.
that's great.
Yeah, no, and they truly are leading the way. I mean, University of Texas at Austin was actually the first school that achieved their goal of transitioning 50% of their campus menus to be plant-based. So we had a big celebration event for them last year, which was exciting. And the University of North Texas was actually the first school in the country to create an all-vegan dining hall on campus back in 2011. So,
Wow.
like always, you got to keep your eye on Texas. They're making moves.
They're squirrely over there.
Yeah.
And I noticed, so a little bird told me, Kate, that you went to UCLA. Is that right?
I
And
did.
your school just happens to be in the top 10. Are we looking at teacher's pet sort of thing, or did they earn their A?
I know when you called, you were like, class of,
Right.
I'm an alum.
Exactly. I just forwarded the email I'd already received from the Alumni Association and just tagged
Right.
on my little ask. No, but they definitely earned every single point they received. So I was very excited to see them rank so highly on the list.
That's
That's great.
fantastic. I was so as we go down the list, it's A's, B's, C's, and then we get into my kind of area of expertise, like the C level students. And it just so happens that my alma mater is a C grade recipient, the Virginia Tech
Chad,
School.
don't
Yeah,
let this
Virginia Tech.
continue. They need to be bumped up.
I will put in a call and they will not take it.
They must. I don't believe that. I think they would absolutely. You got to march onto the campus, tofu in hand, like we're
I
talking about.
probably should.
Right.
I'll take it up. I'll take it under advisement. Um, let's talk about the people who are really trending. What are some of the things that would surprise us that these groups are doing? You mentioned the all vegan dining hall. That's certainly innovative, but that was years ago. So what are some of the new trends that are happening that you can fill us in on and make us jealous of college students?
Right. No, absolutely. I know. I think that was one of the biggest things our team learned is just, wow, do we all suddenly want to go back to school and start eating in these dining halls? But yes, like you're describing, I mean, UNT, while they did implement that all vegan dining hall quite a few years ago, I think they've certainly set the stage and started inspiring other schools to do the same. So we are seeing a lot more schools implement either all vegan dining halls or just all vegan stations within their dining halls. Schools like, UC Berkeley, for example, their dining program involves a lot of student ambassadors who can then connect with their peers and encouraging them to try out any of the new plant-based dishes that may be on the menus that day or that week. Washington State University has a really cool program called Moments with Martha, where their registered dietitian offers trainings and advice directly to students on how to incorporate more healthy eating habits into their diets. I'm trying to think. Rutgers is doing a lot with default plant-based options, which really helps with students taking that since they're just seeing, along the line, the student in front of them took it, their friend took it, so they're going to take it. And it really helps boost those numbers of engagement. So we're seeing a lot of innovation across the country.
Well, I'd imagine, Kate, there could be schools, and when I was living in Arizona, I had an intern who was at Arizona State University, and she helped start a vegan station there. And I wonder if sometimes students can kind of, go to administration and say, "Hey, we really want more vegan options." And there's for students that are listening, start talking to your food service about it, and they can reach out to us, I assume, for assistance in that.
Absolutely. No, we are always so eager to empower students to do their own
Yeah.
advocacy on campus because certainly it's one thing for these dining programs to be approached by a nonprofit looking to support them in making these changes, but it's an entirely different and often more effective thing to have the students themselves, the folks that these dining programs are actually serving, ask for these options. And so, yes, if any students are listening or anyone associated with these universities, if you want to see more of these options being added to your menus, please feel free to not only approach them, always kindly, but pull us into the conversation if we can be of any assistance.
And do you have some kind of a dream list of some universities that you're hoping to work with?
I would say, honestly, and this is going to sound cheesy, but every single university in the country that is yet to be working with us or in some way set a goal to make their menus more plant-based, they comprise our dream list. Everyone is on that list. We're certainly not exclusive when it comes to who we would like to work with. So for any university that is interested in making these changes, regardless of their size, we would love to support them and work with them.
So community colleges for your liberal arts, state universities, all of the above. Your game, Kate, to add them to the list of A plus plus.
Absolutely. And exactly. We want you to get an A plus, right? We're not like those nasty teachers that were grading you on a curve and shoving everybody to the bottom. We want everybody to be getting that A plus grade, 100%.
Well, and I would imagine it's a potential bragging rights for, students and families when you're visiting campus that we have this much diversity and variety of food and we're considering, health and all of these different things.
Absolutely. No, it 100% is, especially for those schools like you're describing, that have maybe really diverse student populations and large international student populations that are looking to have more of those familiar flavors. And a lot of those cuisines tend to be plant-based naturally or even accidentally, if you will. And so there are so many different benefits that they can provide, not only for the students themselves, but like we're describing for the animals, our own health, the health of our environment. So it really is a nice way for universities to brag that they're putting their students in our entire environment first.
That's amazing. That's great. What we always try to end this thing with asking, what can people do? What can everybody listening right now? Is there some way they can get involved and help you out with this honorable task?
Yes, no, my favorite question. And honestly, I'll just piggyback on what we were just describing, that whether you are a student at one of these universities, a parent, faculty member, alumni, or in any way associated with these schools, and you would like to see them maybe get pushed up to the higher ranking portion of our scorecard, you want to see them get that A+ and implement more sustainable menus, we would love for you to support our work in advocating yourselves for these options within these dining programs. So again, feel free to reach out to your own dining programs within your schools. Always kindly, tofu in hand, everyone. You got to bring the tofu.
Seasoned tofu.
Seasoned
right,
tofu.
Kate?
Thank you, Kelly. Seasoned tofu in hand, and requesting that more of these options do get added to menus, and let your school know that there are teams like ours that are ready, willing, and able to support them in implementing these menu changes. We're not here to overhaul menus or diets overnight. We're not here to take anyone's options away. We're just simply here to expand folks' palates, maybe introduce some new foods, some new ingredients, new recipes, and get folks excited about trying these food items. So if you would like our assistance, please feel free to reach out to us at forwardfood.org, and we'd be more than happy to support your school in creating these healthier and delicious menus.
Well, I think that's fantastic. And Kate, I love that you joined us on the podcast, because I do think we alluded to it at the beginning that a lot of folks don't know that we work on these issues, and that you're out there really changing things at the institutional level. And I think a key thing you just said was it's value added, not subtracting. This is, bringing more to, it's not taking away anything at these schools. It is adding to it. And so I just think that's really impactful work. And I know we'll have some listeners that maybe didn't know that the Humane Society of the U.S. works on that. So thank you so much for educating our listeners, for reminding us to season our tofu, and for colleges and university students, faculties, families, if you want more options plant-based, then please let us know how we can help.
Perfect. That was a great wrap up. And like you said, honestly, listeners, if the only thing you take out of this episode is to season your tofu, then I will be happy.
There it is. Final parting words. Thank you so much, Kate, for being with us today. And listeners, thanks for joining us at Humane Voices.
Thank you.